Hi, everybody. Guess what book we're reading today? Yep, you got it. Little Red Riding Hood. Notice my Red Riding Hood? Let's see what Red's up to. A long time ago, in a simple cottage beside the deep, dark woods, there lived a pretty child called Red Riding Hood. She was kind and considerate, and everybody loved her. See, she's got a little hood, just like mine. One afternoon, Red Riding Hood's mother called to her. Granny isn't feeling up to snuff today, she said, so I baked her favorite custard in a little surprise. Be a good girl and take it to her, will you? Red Riding Hood was delighted. She loved going to Granny's, even though it meant crossing the deep, dark woods. But here's Mom, there's Red, making all the goodies for her. When the custard had cooled, Red Riding Hood's mother wrapped it up and put it in a basket. Now, whatever you do, she said, go straight to Granny's. Do not tarry. Do not speak to any strangers. Yes, Mama, said Red Riding Hood. So, Mom told her what to do. Just take the food to Granny's house. Don't delay. And there she goes. She's off to Granny's house. Before long, she was in the deepest part of the woods. Ooh, she said, this is scary. So this little girl is out walking in the dark in the woods. It would be pretty scary. Suddenly, a large wolf appeared. Good afternoon, my dear, he said. Care to stop for a little chat? Oh, gracious me, said Red Riding Hood. Mama said not to speak to any strangers. He seems to be a nice enough guy. He was polite. But the wolf had such a charming manners. And where are you going, sweet thing? He said. I'm on my way to visit Granny, who lives in the pretty yellow house on the other side of the woods, said Red Riding Hood. She's feeling poorly, and I'm taking her a surprise. You don't say, said the wolf. Then he had a delightful idea. No reason why I can't eat them both, he thought. Allow me to escort you, he said. You never know what might be lurking about. You're too kind, said Red Riding Hood. So the wolf is taking her over to Granny's house because he's such a good guy. We'll see. Beyond the forest, they came to a patch of sunflowers. Why not pick a few, suggested the wolf. Grannies love flowers, you know. But while Red Riding Hood was picking a pretty bouquet, the clever wolf hurried on ahead to Granny's house. So he's got he's got Red here picking up a bunch of flowers, and while she's doing that, he's taking off. Why does he want to go to Granny's house? Who is it? Cried out Granny. It is I, your darling granddaughter, said the wolf in a high voice. My door is unlocked, said Granny. So the wolf's at the door. Look at Granny's feet sticking out under the covers, though. Surprise! Cried the wolf. Granny was furious at having her reading interrupted. Get out of here, you horrid thing! She cried. So Granny's kind of irritated because she was reading a book, and the wolf was interrupting her book reading time. But the wolf gobbled her up right away. He didn't even bother to chew. Tasty, he said, patting his belly. Just then he heard footsteps on the garden path. Here comes dessert. and losing no time, he put on Granny's cap and glasses, jumped into bed, and pulled up the covers. So he thinks he looks a little bit like Granny, just because he's wearing her clothes. "Who is it?" he called out in his sweetest Granny voice. "It is I, your little granddaughter," said Red Riding Hood. "The door is unlocked," said the wolf. Look at this wolf's feet sticking out underneath the bed covers. There's Red, getting ready to come in. Red Riding Hood was distressed at seeing her grandmother so changed. "Why, Granny," she said, "what big eyes you have." "The better to see you with, my dear," said the wolf. "And Granny, what long arms you have." "The better to hug you, my dear," said the wolf. "And Granny, what big teeth you have." I bet you know what he's going to say next. "The better to eat you, my dear," cried the wolf. What do you think? And he gobbled her right up. "I'm so wicked," he said. "I'm just so wicked." But he really was enormously pleased with himself, and having enjoyed such a heavy meal, he was soon snoring away. A hunter passing by was alarmed by the frightful racket. "That doesn't sound like Granny to me," said the hunter. Here's the hunter just walking along, and he could hear the wolf snoring. Didn't seem like that was Granny's snore. And so the brave hunter jumped in the window, killed the sleeping wolf, and cut him open. Out jumped Granny and Red Riding Hood. "We're ever so grateful," said Red Riding Hood. "That wicked wolf won't trouble you again," said the hunter. "It was so dark in there, I couldn't read a word of my book," said Granny. So Granny's upset. Her main takeaway is that it was too dark to read her book inside the wolf's stomach. Red Riding Hood promised never, ever to speak to another stranger with charming manners or not. So here's Granny after popping out of the wolf's stomach, and there's Red popping out of the wolf's stomach. Hunter did a pretty good job, but Granny's a little upset because she couldn't read her book. It was too dark inside the wolf's stomach. So again, Red says, "I'll never speak to another stranger, charming or not." And she never did. Looks like a pretty charming alligator right there, but Red didn't talk to her, or talk to him. I don't know about you, but I've noticed a lot of these books, somebody always seems to get ate. Anyway, that's the story of Red Riding Hood. Hope you liked it. See you later.